How do Adeleke reconcile the political battle he describes to his supporters with the warmth and gratitude he is displaying publicly towards the very political establishment he previously warned about? This video is about the Osun mandate, from fighting the system to tanking the system. Something about the aftermath of the Osun election deserves a serious conversation. A visit to Tinubu and Wike. Let us be clear. Nobody is saying Governor Adeleke cannot forgive his political opponents. Nobody is saying he cannot visit President Tinubu. Nobody is saying he cannot seek for cooperation with the federal government. But Nigerians are entitled to ask a very uncomfortable question. What exactly are we celebrating? For months, Governor Adeleke and his supporters told Nigerians that the Osun was under political siege. He warned about killings. He appealed to President Tinubu to intervene. His campaign raised allegations of intimidations, violence, electoral manipulations, and the use of security forces. And the human cost was not imaginary. Amnesty International reported at least 29 deaths in 73 elections related violence incidents across Osun ahead of the election. Families lost loved ones. People were injured. Properties were destroyed. Political supporters lived in fear. And then came the election. Adeleke won. The people gave him another mandate. And within days, we watched the same political actors who had been portrayed as part of the larger political struggle become people to whom the governor, went to offer thanks, congratulations, and friendship. What an irony. He visited President Tinubu and presented his certificate of return, thanking him for following the democratic process to run its course. Then came the visit to FCT Minister Osun Wike, where the governor and minister were photographed holding the certificate of return together. And then Davido, a man whose voice carries enormous influence among the Nigerian youths, was seen joking and celebrating Wike during the visit. This is where the disappointment begins. Not because forgiveness is wrong. Forgiveness is good. Reconciliation is good. Working with federal government is good. But political accountability is also good. Those who died cannot dance. I repeat, those who gave their life cannot dance. Okay? Those whose properties were destroyed cannot simply erase what happened. Those who stood on the street, campaigned, defended the mandate, and risked their lives cannot be told that everything is suddenly fine because the election is over. Governor Adeleke himself has acknowledged the painful price paid during the electoral process. When, he is at the receiving end. When receiving his certificate of return, he said citizens were injured, properties destroyed, livelihood, disrupted, and most painfully, life loss. He also announced about 500 million education scholarship for children and dependents of victims of political violence. That is commendable. But justice cannot be replaced with 500 million donation to the Education Foundation. Justice must be accompanied, with the rule of law. But justice must accompany forgiveness. You can forgive your political opponents without forgetting victims. You can shake hands with President Tinubu without abandoning the questions you previously raised. You can work with Wike without pretending that the political disagreement never happened. You can reconcile without rewriting history. And this is where I believe Governor Adeleke needs to be careful. The people did not risk everything so that the politicians could fight during the campaign and embrace immediately after victory while the victims are forgotten. The mandate belongs to the people of Osun. The certificate of return belongs to the people. The blood spilled during the political crisis belongs to the history of Osun. What changed within a few days? And the people deserve answer. Who killed those people? Who sponsored the violence? Who destroyed the properties? Okay? Who ordered or facilitated intimidation? These are basic questions that deserve answer. Or should people deserve answers? Why were so many incidents allowed to happen during that process? How many arrests were made? How many prosecutions have followed? Okay? These questions should not be disappear simply because election is over. These are questions that are supposed to be answered before any dancing or shaking hands with the Tinubu or Wike. Lives were lost, and those lives cannot be replaced. These questions should not disappear simply because Adeleke won the election. The mandate was given to him by Osun people. Now let's talk about Davido. Davido has every right to meet whoever he wants, but he also has responsibility that comes with his enormous influence. When young Nigerians watch him standing with Wike, laughing and celebrating after an election surrounded by accusations of violence, some understandably ask, what happened to everything we're fighting for? You cannot spend months telling young people that the political system is failing them, and then immediately after victory, appear completely comfortable with the same political establishment without explaining what changed. That creates confusion, it creates cynicism, and worst of all, it can teach young Nigerians that politics is simply about winning, not about principles. Davido, what are your principles? Governor Adeleke, you won. Now show them why nobody expects you to remain permanently at war with Abuja. Governor Adeleke, you won. Now show them why nobody expects you to remain permanently at war with Abuja. Nigeria need cooperation between governors and the federal government. But cooperation should never mean surrender. You cannot surrender the mandate of Osun in the platter of gold to the federal government. If President Tinubu truly respected the democratic process, as Adeleke has said, then let that respect continue. Let the federal government help Osun. Let the governor work with Abuja where corporations benefit the people of Osun, not Adeleke's family or not Adeleke's interests. But at the same time, protect the victims, investigate the killings, compensate those whose property were destroyed, demand accountability. That is a solemn responsibility expected by the Osun people. Protect the political freedom. Never allow the machinery of government to be used against your people, against the citizens of Osun, against the citizens again. That will be the real leadership. Because the greatest victory is not defeating your opponent at the ballot box. Okay? The greatest victory is not defeating your opponent at the ballot box. The greatest victory is ensuring that next Nigerian election does not require people to die before democracy can survive. Governor Adeleke has won his mandate, or should people give him his mandate, and he must respect that mandate. Now he has another responsibility. Do not let the people who fought for that mandate become forgotten once the politicians have finished celebrating. And to Davido, you can't say you are Davido and forget the people that stand by you. You can forgive, you can reconcile, you can joke with politicians, but please remember the young Nigerians who looked up to you and believed that your voice stood for something bigger than politics. Don't let the celebration become louder than the cries of those who pay the ultimate price. Osun deserve peace. Osun deserve respect. Osun deserve freedom of association. Osun deserve freedom to vote whoever they want to. But Osun also deserves memory, justice, and accountability. Because reconciliation without accountability can easily become another form of betrayal. And let Osun people not be betrayed. Let Osun people not be betrayed. Your voice is your responsibility. You are in a larger platform. Use that platform to seek justice for those who pay the ultimate price. Use that platform to seek accountability for those who perpetrated violence to the poor for you. Use that voice and platform to make sure that injustice does not repeat itself to the citizens of Osun in the near future. A man with such influence commands responsibility. You have that responsibility to defend the people of Osun rights. The ultimate price they paid, there must be justice and should not be swept under the carpet. I rest my case.